Hi, I'm E.D. Lewis, and welcome back to my channel. Um, you know the drill. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Make sure to hit that little bell on the subscribe so you can find out when I have a new video up. And, follow me on social media. All the links down below for social media and my writings, including Goodreads and Bookbub, are down below in the description. So, welcome back to my channel for another Nocturnal review. It's been a bit since I did a review. It was right before Christmas, actually. And when I reviewed A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens, this time around I'll be reviewing a newer book, one that came out earlier this calendar year. It came out in this year of 2020, and it came out in June. This book, this is the second time I've read the book because the first time around, I enjoyed the book, but I didn't get to thoroughly enjoy it because I had to rush through it because I signed up to do a review on it, but the date for when it was due, for all the reviews to be due by, was just a couple days afterwards, and I didn't realize it was going to be that soon, so I had to rush through it really quick, and I really hated that I did that because it is a fantastic book, and I'll get to it in just a moment. So I really wanted to reread it before the end of the calendar year. That was one of my goals. I mean, another book I wanted to read before the end of the calendar year I didn't get to, but it's on my TBR for the next 12 months. Well, now a little less, like 10 or 11 months now. But anyway, that book that I'm talking about that I am doing a review on is called The Best Man on the Planet by C.G. Twiles. It is like it says on the cover, it is a modern Gothic romantic thriller. It is definitely that. It is a Gothic romance, very much in the style of like Rebecca and even Jane Eyre to an extent. And I would even say it has influence from all sorts of, Gothic styles that that have come over the years. A lot of the stuff from the 60s and even more modern stuff. And now, some of that, I don't know if it was intentional or not, but I mean, it comes through. So, like I said, it was published earlier in this calendar year. It was in June. Okay, reason why I say calendar year, by the way, is because I follow more of a Celtic calendar. So, for me, I'm already in the new year because with the Celtic calendar, it ends on October 31. And so I consider myself already in 2021. I know it's just how I am and the way I go about things, but so if it ever sounds weird to you, that's what I'm referring to. So anyway, back to my review. So I actually discovered this book on I think it was on Instagram actually, and I read about it and stuff, and I was like, ooh, I've got to read this book. It was around the same time that I discovered another book that was getting ready to come out that was called In Her Shadow, which I've done a review on. And at the time when I was reading this book, I thought In Her Shadow and this book were, had similar plots just from the description of the other book. Well, when I read In Her Shadow, I discovered that was not the case. That they're very different books. That one was very much Rebecca, and this one is very much its own thing. It has Rebecca-ish things in it, but it's definitely not Rebecca. It's very much its own thing, and it's very cleverly done. So anyway, the plot for it's about an investigative reporter named Casey Matos. If I'm butchering that last name, I am so sorry. She is hired by the very rich Samuel Foster III, who lives in this very old Gothic mansion in Brooklyn, and it looks very out of place and stuff, but it's it's old and it's beautiful, and like a lot of the mansions of its style have been taken and turned into condos, and this is like not, so it's very out of place and stuff, but which kind of adds to the Gothic atmosphere. Um, so Foster has hired Casey to research these victims of horrible crimes. and find ways that he can use his millions to benefit them and pay tribute and honor to them. Because you have like a teacher that survived shootings, and then she was attacked sometime later. Um, and there was this family that adopted all these children. I think they adopted all these children, and then the father got murdered. I can't remember if the mother did. I think she did. I think she got murdered too. If I'm sorry, I'm forgetting off the top of my head. There's a lot of things going on up here right now, and just these these stories like that, these victims, and all but one are still alive. I mean, all but one are dead. There's only one still alive. And so, Casey, thinks this is awfully strange that Foster would be being so generous and stuff, especially with like his arrogant old pictures in the news and stuff in the tabloids. That why would this man have he seemed so arrogant and stuff and kind of dark and cold in his pictures. Why would he be giving away all this money? He's so generous now. So, but soon she learns that he has a brain aneurysm that is nearly about to take him out. If I keep looking at him, glancing at my notes. And so, he's trying to, create kind of kind of a legacy in a way for, of good deeds, for himself, before he, say kicks the bucket. But, the two, grow really close to each other and fall in love, which, neither one of them was looking for. And he tries to push her away several times, but, it just doesn't work out that way. And so he ends up, finding a way to get these treatments, because he's given up, and she inspires him to, get these treatments that she's read about in other countries that could help. And so his life starts to change, but then Casey begins to find some evidence that kind of questions his whole motivation behind what he's doing. And that's kind of where I'm going to leave it right there. I kind of went off my notes a little bit, but it is quite a thriller, and it does have a lot of twists and turns and some questions and some really high points. And like, I kind of find her best friend a little bit annoying, but funny at the same time. It's kind of that funny annoying, because I think she overreacts a lot. Astrid was her friend's name. So, but anyway, I love the book, and it does have very Rebecca-esque moments in it. Of course, this girl, that's, she's not from a rich family, and she ends up marrying this, very wealthy man who, it's hard to tell how old he is because of, the treatments that he's gone through, and like the major changes to his body due to his health condition. And also there's this housekeeper like character who kind of reminds you of Mrs. Danvers, and she was his old nanny and stuff. And her name is Miss Brock, and so she kind of reminds you of Mrs. Danvers. She's not Mrs. Danvers, of course, but she's kind of a, Danvers-esque character. I found a lot of the when Casey is investigating all these victims, I found, it was almost like it was like you had the main novel and the plot with it, and then you had these little minor plots, which just like little stories of each of the victims and stuff, and I thought that was really cool and something a little different. So, I mean, in my original review that I wrote for it, I called it a modern Gothic classic, and that's very much what it is. It is a modern Gothic classic. I highly recommend it if you are into, a lot of the books that I talk about on here. If you're into romantic thrillers, if you're into Gothic literature, even modern Gothic literature, I definitely check out The Best Man on the Planet. It doesn't disappoint, and like I said, it creates all these doubts and these questions in your mind that also Casey is feeling herself. So I think it captures that escapist quality. Is that, I think that's what you'd call it, that escapist quality that Gothics seem to, are supposed to have with that high emotion. And so, but I would highly recommend this book, so go check it out. She has another book out, the author, and it's called The Neighbors in Apartment 3D. I have gotten my Kindle edition of it recently, but I don't know when I'll get to crack it open. I hope to soon. It sounds really cool, and it's a thriller. I don't think it's a Gothic, but I mean, even when I only got to rush through this and fly through it, which there were some things I did actually miss and stuff. And when I went back, I'm like, oh, I missed that, or I forgot about that. I was like, oh, that's really cool. And so, but I mean, even from that little bit, CG Twiles, she can write. There's no doubt about that. She can write. Just like when I started reading Joseph Hood's book, my friend Nick, like almost immediately, like, this man can write. So, anyway, that's my review, and like I said, you should go check this out and go check out her second book as well, which is the Neighbors in Apartment 3D. And there is a little bit of a preview at the end of this, at the end of the Kindle book. I assume also the paperback. I don't have the paperback of either one, but they're available on Amazon. So check out CG Twiles, and she has an Instagram as well and a website. So that's all I have for you for this time around. I know people are doing videos on best books of 2020 and like their favorite reads out of the stuff that they read. I didn't do that. I haven't read that many books that came out this year. I mean, I read this one, and I read this one twice. I read Mexican Gothic, which I loved, and In Her Shadow. I don't know if I read any other books that came out this year, for sure. If I did, I'm just forgetting. But out of those three, I would put In Her Shadow in third place, because it wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be, and I understand why it disappointed people. I'd probably put Mexican Gothic in second place, because it did have its issues. It was a fantastic book. It was awesome. I loved it, but it did have its issues. And then there's this book, Best Man on the Planet, which I'd put as my number one out of the books of 2020, that came out in 2020 that I really liked. So I would put this one at the top because it didn't have, I didn't have any problems with it. The writing style was fantastic. I liked it. It was easy to read. It kept you interested. It was, it was a story that, you kept wondering what was going to happen next. It was definitely a page turner. So, I mean, if I was to go about with, like, favorite books that came out in 2020 that I read, it would be Best Man on the Planet and Mexican Gothic. And then my least favorite of 2020 books released in 2020 would be In Her Shadow by Kristen Miller. All three good books, though. It was just that one was the most disappointing. So, anyway. I'll see you sometime after the start of January. I have some videos. I have another video planned. It was this was the first book on my TBR. The second book I've read that's on my TBR, because they're in no particular order. I've already gotten it finished. I just finished reading it the other day, and I'll be doing a review on it. And I plan on doing also a shelf tour of my Kindle books, and when I get to work on my bookshelf and stuff, I'll do a bookshelf tour of my bookcase. So anyway, have a for those who celebrate New Year's, have a blessed celebration and a safe one. Remember to, social distance, wear your mask, do all the safety precautions. Don't drink too much. Drink responsibly. Do responsible things. And I will see you in January. So, keep safe and stay spooky. So, bye-bye.